All right, today I wanted to show you all how to install a Walker 36-inch snowblower single stage onto your Walker mower. So it is a really simple process as long as you've got the tools in place and you do it in the right steps. I say that kind of jokingly because I didn't have the right tools in place and I didn't have all the stuff I needed, and it took me a lot longer than it needed to, so I figured I'd make a video to make it easier for the rest of you, or maybe help assist you if you're thinking about buying one of these and aren't exactly sure how it works. So the first step that you're going to want to do when you're installing this is you're going to want to take a 1/2-inch wrench and take off this cover panel. I already took off the other bolt, and because this one's used, the newer ones are obviously going to look a little nicer and they might be a little easier. So what we're looking at here is the gearbox, the PTO shaft, and then where most of our work is going to be done on this machine to install it is on this bracket. It's got a spring-assisted lift system. This lift system is what attaches to the mower, and I'll show you the parts that you need to make that happen. Where it's going to attach is over here. On all mowers, I read this in the manual, all mowers 1984 and on have holes already into the mower where the bolts are going to attach. And actually, I guess this is a battery pan bolt. This holds the battery pan in. So that bolt's already there. It's on a wing nut, and that's where one of your brackets is going to attach. It's pretty simple. Let me show you kind of the owner's manual. What I did is I did print an owner's manual finally. Was a lot smarter to do that. I just searched Walker single stage snowblower owner's manual, and then I printed it off of Google. So I printed the whole thing, and you don't need the whole thing. You need pages 10, 11, 12, and then I found it nice when I went to my Walker dealer to have page 34 and 35 so I could see exactly what I needed. Actually, I went there, ordered the wrong stuff because I didn't do this first. So hopefully, if you can read my chicken scratches, I've made it a little easier for you. Everything that's a part number with an F is a fastener, and you can get those at your local hardware store. Actually, in the owner's manual it said obtain locally. I would suggest that because it's expensive for our dealers to carry bolts. Therefore, you're going to pay a little bit more for those. The lift bracket is absolutely necessary to get from Walker. It's like a $10 part. You're going to need 2 of them. I've got the part number there. It's also on that page 34 if you need it, if you can't read my writing. Then I've got these things a little bit out of order. Our lift chain, our bolt here, it's a 5/16, 1 1/4. I got that at the hardware store. Same thing with these 2 parts. So when you go to your Walker dealer, you order these online through Walker. I'm not actually sure if you can do that or not. They're going to look a little different. I do know when I went to my Walker dealer, it was a 4-chain system. I think it's supposed to be 4.5 inches long. The chain I picked up, I measured it as 4 inches. So anyways, I'm not sure if that makes a huge difference. I've already installed it. It works great. And then your chain shackle. A couple of things if you're trying to do this inexpensively. I believe these chain shackles and this chain setup per unit is about $30. So it's about $60 for the chain and the shackle, I guess, depending on where you're buying it. At the hardware store I went to, I got the chain shackle and the chain for $8 a piece. So I got $16 into it instead of $60. But like I said, normally I'm a person that's going to get everything through Walker, through my dealer. But in this case, I bought the snowblower to install it, to show somebody how it's used in order to sell it. And so that's kind of why I went with this system. So long and short, I'm going to get set up, show you how to install it, and hopefully you have an easier time your first time through than I did my first time. A couple of the tools you are going to need: get a strap ahead of time. I like these just pull type straps instead of a ratchet strap or a rope. That's going to come in really handy on a step that I'm going to go over here. Also get a 1/2-inch wrench, 1/2-inch socket, and then you'll be set. That's all the tools that you need. So anyways, just the board falling down.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here first, our easiest, I found that the easiest one to install is the one on the left as you face the mower. So I'm going to install the one on the right first. So what I need to do here, what I found is I didn't get the exact parts Walker called for. I actually forgot to get this nut and this bolt, and so I just pulled it out of some of the stuff I had. It calls for a 1-inch bolt and a whiz nut. It also says, I believe in the owner's manual, I think it asking the whiz nut to be on the front. I wasn't able to get this bolt through the backside. My hydro sits so close to this frame. I'm sure that there's a way to do it. So what I did is I'm just pushing this bolt through on the backside. And so how I found it to be the easiest, if you're in the same position as me and can't fish that bolt through to put your nut on the front, is I like to get that bolt through ahead of time. Then I take my nut and I just like to line it up in the back and just hold it tight. That way I know that it's in the right place. Not trying to talk down to any of you. Some of you are probably great mechanically, awesome mechanics. This is no big deal for you. But sometimes for me, these little things, getting these bolts in there properly is a big pain in the rear. So I'm in there properly. It's holding tight. I'm going to grab my wrench. It's nice if you put your tools back in the same place. Also, not my strength. And then I like to get this thing tightened down. Now, why I'm telling you I like to get it tightened down is because you want to get these things lined up. And I've been installing them straight up and down. Now, what I found in the past is if I don't get this bolt super tight, there's a lot of tension on this chain. And this system sits really, really close to our hydro forward arms. And I'm sure that there's a more technical term for that, but I found these chain brackets to move over, and it puts it really, really close to your arms. So if your arms have been bent in any way, it can get caught up on that bolt that you put in, and then you're going to be out in the middle of the snowstorm and your mower's going to be stuck with the left tire spinning or the right tire spinning. It'd be really frustrating. So make sure that you tighten these brackets down super tight ahead of time. That way you know that it's not going to move on you. Okay, now for our bracket on the left-hand side. This one, like I said, it's already got the bolt in place. It's got the whiz lock nut. I'm just going to slide this on. And once again, I'm going to get it really tight. I like it to be straight up and down. Help if I have my wrench going the right direction. Okay, same thing here. This is probably a step that I would take ahead of time. Get these tightened down as well. But I just wanted to make sure you saw the process start to finish. Now I'm just using a lock nut in there. The other thing that I'm doing, just to make sure that I don't have any hang up on my support arm here, is I'm putting the bolt head on the hydro arm side. That way it's the most amount of clearance in between that and the arm. So same thing here on the other side. Like I said, this is something that you can have pre-assembled before you stick it on, but I just wanted you to see the whole process. Okay, once it's on there, our chains are set, ready to go. The nice thing is on this, if this is a mower that you're using during the summer for snow, once this is on here, you're not going to have to replace these again because you don't have to take these off to reinstall your mow deck. I would take the chains off, but that's just going to required taking 2 bolts out. So that process would be done even through the summer months. All right, so for our next step is getting the actual snowblower onto the machine. Now, if you've got a lot of experience putting decks on, this is probably not going to be a big deal for you. If you have an issue with the deck, you can see one of the other videos that I've got posted. But what I've found is by myself, this is probably the most difficult part of the process. It's not super difficult, but there are a few things that I've seen that are going to make it a little bit easier. So you just want to line up. You want to line up your first and foremost, make sure your PTO shaft is on the snowblower ready to go, and then you want to get the snowblower lined up pretty close to your walker support arms. The trick that I found on this is the same trick that I use when I'm installing a walker deck. I like to offset it slightly. So the side that I'm working on, if it's offset slightly, then what's nice about it is once I get this arm in, it kind of holds it there. So it's in, and I'm not having to keep it held there. Now, with any luck, when I put in my other side, then it's going to hold, and then I can get it shimmied on into place. So then I lift my other side up, and there we go, we're set. I've got both sides in. Then if you just lift, then we're set. Now it's just a matter of shimming it back and forth. As long as it's parallel, it tends to go on a little bit easier. You will get to a point when it's on there far enough that then you can just lift and kind of push. So at that point in time, what I like to do, I like to make sure that I've got about 2 inches of gap here. That leaves me enough space to reach in and get the PTO shaft attached. Just like when we install our walker decks, we want to make sure that that PTO shaft latches into place. If you have issues with that or want to see a video on that, like I said, I did go over that in my last video regarding installing a deck. Once that's in place, we can push the snowblower all the way in. And then you can get your clevis pins, your deck pins installed. So this next step is a pretty simple one, either with help or with the assistance of the strap that I'm going to show you. The nice thing on this is this thing is spring loaded, and what we want to do is we want the assist of that spring to be pulling against the chains. So in order to do that, we need to get them installed. You just wanted to press this handle. Now you're not going to be able to push it down all the way because it's got a safety on here. This is actually, once it's installed, once you lift it up and the chains are pulling against the walker, this is actually what holds the snowblower in the up position. So you just want to push that down, push your lever all the way forward. This has got a lot of pressure against it, so you don't want this thing to slip and hit you in the face for sure. That's why I've got my strap here. I just hook that strap in. What that allows is it pulls that lift system into place, and then it's going to allow me to attach these chains. Once again, the walker shackles are a little different. They're a little heavier duty, and they're actually a screw type shackle where it screws in to the shackle itself. You do want to make sure that you've got those into place. I'm not going to put the clevis pin into this one because I'm going to be taking it off again. Then from there, once we let go of our handle, it's now operational. Just so you all can see how it actually is supposed to look though, I'll reinstall this guard. There is so many moving parts in here. You want to make sure that you don't operate this without this guard in place. I know it kind of goes without saying, but at that point in time, right now with it down, it's functional, it's operational, that cutting edge is against the ground. What's nice about this though, is once I lift this up, I don't know how much this thing weighs, maybe 150, 200 pounds, but there's so much tension on those chains that it lifts up almost effortlessly. So this is for transport going back and forth. To lower it back down now, I just lift it back up, I depress that catch with my foot, and I'm able to lower it back down. So hopefully you have a little easier time getting yours installed the first time than I did. I'm gonna be continuing to post more videos on things that I've found that make life easier in lawn care. So if you're interested in this video, please like it. Please subscribe to my channel. The more subscriptions I've got, the more I know that you're interested in the information that I'm giving, and I'll continue to make more videos. Thanks a lot.